time. So for example, Ian, as you said very correctly, that when you're young or teenager, you were listening something and you were relating with your pain, suffering, and kind of love and attachment and all that. But with the time it passes, you see, look at it, and you possibly laugh, saying, "Oh, I was also that." But today, for your discretionary mind, that's not very much intellectual stuff, isn't it?
Well, like I said, it's transitioned for me from
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's a fair point. And I actually think a lot about this from the other perspective, from a band that when they're in their 20s were singing these particular things like, I hate my parents and all this kind of stuff, but then they hit their 30s and 40s and then they're still on stage singing. I listened to Alice Cooper and he still sings about school's out for summer. And he's like he's like 67, mate. Come on. It's time to retire that song. But it's one of his biggest hits, so he has to sing it. And it just seems really out of place and disjointed because this is this 60-year-old rocker, singing about the troubles of being in school when it's not relevant anymore for him either. So
I guess what's interesting about music is it can exist beyond the creator of the music. So its intent and its influence can live on indefinitely. And yes, Alice Cooper can retire and actually hasn't been in school for a very, very long time and not really care about school, but he'll perform it. But there'll be someone in the audience who potentially is in school is going to go, he's singing my jam. His words are resonating with me. And so the music is transcendental in itself. It transcends time, it transcends gender and space. It's one of the fascinating things about music. Going back to your point about being in church and hearing someone saying, hallelujah, praise the Lord, stuff like that. It's all a matter of perspective. You can view it as, wow, yes, you're indoctrinating this congregation with this almost repetitive trance-like, repeat this phrase, sing it out loud. On the flip side, though, I use the same mechanism on myself. So I have my own hymns that I sing pretty much every night, and they are for my own spiritual practice. And there really is no difference, except for the fact that I'm consciously doing it, as opposed to having it imposed upon me, potentially. So same with a mantra. If you take it on board and you're actively focusing on it and trying to embody it and feel it, it'll have an effect on you. But however, it could be just background noise. If you're surrounded by the hum of computers and people muttering and murmuring and coughing, and someone's got their headset on too loud, you can hear some static coming off their headset. It all becomes this big jumble of noise. But somewhere in there could be some transcendental bit of music that actually could connect everyone in the room, could connect you to something higher, and actually move you in a way.
So something I find interesting is that it really does depend on the listener themselves. I mean, you can create a song with the purpose of, I don't know, teaching someone the ABCs, and someone can take it completely differently to the actual purpose of the song. I mean, there's several cases of this with heavy metal itself. Like when you consider heavy metal songs, a lot of them sound very angry. I like it because I find it fun to listen to that stuff or move around to it or whatever. Whereas someone else takes that as, hey, this guy's right, I should attack someone. It's quite interesting to see that people can take it a different way, and there's many sort of circumstances around it where, I mean, religion has played a part in it as well, where heavy metal is devil music, and, people have started cults based on heavy metal music. And, I mean, you've got the same thing Ian was saying before about rap, where someone can listen to a rap song and say, all right, this is a good beat, whereas someone else goes, hey, they're right, I should go shoot up everyone in the club. Saranga, what are your thoughts on this?
You raised a good point. Does music gotta have meaning? From speaking from personal experience, I listen to English songs, I listen to Sinhala songs like Sri Lankan songs and Hindi songs, so Middle Eastern, Arabic. For me, the lyrical meaning of the song does play a factor, but it's not the overall factor. There's the beat of the song, the rhythm of the song, the different instruments used, observing the patterns played within this music, and the fact that you are getting into a state of whatever the music might be, you're getting into a state of trance, and you're going with the rhythm of the song. The lyrical part of it, there's always that layer, the lyrical meanings of rap or metal, whatever it is, has that factor, always going to be there. That 50% is like a 50-50 split where you got your lyricals, then you got your rhythm, actual music of it. I want to highlight the fact that more should be emphasized on that, the rhythm of the song, the instruments of the songs, rather than the lyrical aspects, the meaning aspects of it.
Yeah, I totally agree because think about this. You could go probably to any town square anywhere around the world and put on the Macarena, and then everyone in the town square is going to start doing the Macarena because
Yeah,
they're just, and no one knows what the lyrics are. They're just doing the hey. You know?
exactly,
And they just
exactly. It's like any culture you go in, like that's the thing. You can go in and go with the rhythm of the song and just dance to it.
and
That's what it's supposed to be, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
what I find that
throwing in an example that Saranga can relate to is Despacito.
exactly. That's
Surely
one
he
of the
doesn't know the
classics.
meaning to all the lyrics in there, but he loves that song.
But what's
And
really strange about it as well is that it actually doesn't matter what the lyrics are. The
That's
lyrics could
exactly
be
right.
angry Spanish or sad Spanish or whatever it is,
mm,
but everyone's happy because they're dancing and they're singing. One very Aussie example is K-San. Whenever K-San comes on the radio or anywhere, everyone knows Cold Chisel, everyone knows Jimmy Barnes, and they're just dancing and singing away to it, even though no one likes New South Wales trains. So,
Sorry, Ian, how's that song go again?
oh, look, I can't sing, as I've already established by singing earlier. So, um, but the point that Saranga and I are trying to make is that it's strange. Music, no matter what the raw emotion is behind it, I think ultimately, for most people, ends up in some form of happiness. Because even if you are listening to a sad song about a breakup because you've been through a breakup, you get the end of it and you're like,
Some of the best songs are the sad songs.
yeah.
I think beauty comes from that balance between what is sad and what is good. It's that in between,
yeah,
that little sliver in between. That's where beauty is. That's where poetry is. It's like when you
mm,
you think of something sad and you describe it in a descriptive way of a bad situation, but by feeling that negative
energy.
emotion and the energy of that, the misery or the sadness, you actually get a bit of joy out of it. It's the opposite to being bombarded with music, which is all about partying and dancing and be happy, be happy, be happy, which it covers and rejects actual emotion that people feel. So when it comes to music, we're living in a culture where we're being force-fed pop music, which is not particularly deep. I can't even define a genre anymore. It's almost like it's just pop in general. Whether it's some blonde bombshell or some dude, doesn't matter. They're effectively not singing about anything anymore. It literally is pop music. It is
Is there a
forgettable.
commercial aspect of
Exactly.
it?
Look at Gangnam Style.
Oh,
Yeah,
exactly. Perfect
Like,
example.
so many people love that. Well, what the hell is he talking about?
I know. Well,
yeah.
Gangnam is a place somewhere in Southeast Asia, like a city or something. I'm not sure where
So
exactly.
yeah, I think he's in. Is it in Korea actually? Gangnam.
I don't know, but that wasn't my point about what the song's actually about. But it's more, no one knows what the lyrics are necessarily meaning, but
Yeah,
it's the beat and the fact that, the guy himself throws off this energy of craziness, I guess.
However,
yeah.
will it stand the test of time? Will your children or your children's children think back and go, that song spoke for a generation? Like,
Look,
Mm,
maybe
I,
not Gangnam Style, but what I would say is I'd like to talk about the throwaway nature of music as well, because there are so many songs where their only purpose is to make money. Think of Australian Idol or American Idol. Yeah, very rarely does that particular person that wins those music talent shows ever go beyond that one hit that they got as a result of that show. And I find that interesting. And it's actually a polarizing fight between music companies and musicians is one wants to be telling a story, one just wants to make money, and they don't always collide very well.
but there's also the artistic side to it as well. Like when you consider every time they artistically push the boundaries, that's when people are drawn to them. Like you think of Miley Cyrus. I mean, her lyrics aren't great. Wrecking Ball. I mean, she's licking a sledgehammer. It's just something totally different, and that's why people were sort of attracted to it. It became in the media purely because she's naked, swinging on a wrecking ball and licking a sledgehammer. Like it's people pushing the boundaries these days that people are being attracted to, regardless of what the actual song is about.
so
Well, I think about from Spiro's perspective, what's the song that will carry on for generations? You look at bands like the Beatles or Michael Jackson, or for me, one which I think will stand the test of time is Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. And the only reason that will be there for the rest of time is because of the hook at the start. because of what Slash produced. It's so unique, it's so memorable, and it very similar to what I was saying about the Macarena. If someone played just the first 10 seconds of Sweet Child of Mine, everyone will know what that song is. And I think it's that potentially that separates the artists that will be remembered versus the artists that will be forgotten and disposed of. And maybe I'm not sure if Miley Cyrus wants to be remembered for all time for licking a wrecking ball, but
The memory is on something visual, so it's the video clip that everyone remembers, not the actual music.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask. So
Yeah.
the technology
That's why
plays
I
a
think-
huge role in this nowadays. Everything alongside actual mixing of songs, the DJ part of things is the way it used to be in the beginning, and now it is like back in the days is all the turntables had the old school spin records and everything. Nowadays is a lot more software used for DJing, and also the addition of the YouTube, where now you're just getting the number of views is more important than the actual content of the music as well.
Video killed the radio star.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I apologize for singing.
We have to. One has to sing in this podcast.
what are you singing for us, Rango?
You guys.
You know what I'm
Give
gonna
us a
sing.
mantra. So give us something to make us vibrate. Give us,
Yeah, Tish, you've been quiet over there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to sing a mantra, which might give you even the meaning will follow it. Yogarato va bhogarato va sangarato va sangavihina yasya brahmani ramate chittam yasya brahmani ramate chittam nandati nandati nandatyeva. The meaning is that either you are engaged in material or you are engaged in metaphysical or the spiritual or cosmic. As long as you are questioning and questioning, seeking and seeking, the liberation cannot be denied. So this was actually coming from a Sanskrit poem written by an evolved person back 2,300 years back. His name was Shankaracharya. He was writing poems of liberations. So this chunk was meaning for that. So this is a very fine example that what can sustain, which can take you towards the extreme pleasure or the pleasure which is constant, which is not changing, which is not dependent. Most of the times we hear music in our societies and it temporarily distracts our mind into pleasure, which we call as pleasure, which is not. And then we are back to the square one. We are behaving the same way. We are having the same amount of emotions, which we are trying to release, but it's not going. For different people, stress is there, depression is there. Everybody is hearing music. Look at everybody. Everybody is using their earphones and they are hearing something. But the question is, are they really hearing? And who is hearing? Only the shallow layer or something deeper?
See, this is something I'd like to disagree with you on. It may be temporary emotional relief. It may be a moment of pleasure as you describe it, but I think that discounts how important it is. I think that for all of us at some point in our lives, we'll have that series of songs that help us get to a tough time. And it's not just filled again. I reckon, like Spiro was saying, some of the most beautiful songs are the ones about breakups or about some tragedy that's happened in their lives. And they use that, and maybe it's only a temporary solution for that particular time in their lives, but they get over it, and then that emotion is gone.
So do you mean just for like a gym session or a boxing session or a running session, you just want something just to
No,
get
I'm
you in
saying,
the
say for example, you went through a breakup and you had 2 months of feeling sad, but you sang Adele for 2 months. But that was your way of getting through it. You know? For me, that would be torture, but for someone else, it might be, it might be their way of getting out. And that's important. I think that to disregard that and just call it shallow and temporary and unimportant is not.
I did not say it's not important. I just say it's just a distraction.
Well, that sounds unimportant to me.
I would like to share. I would like to share my experience quickly here. That when I started from the childhood, the only music which was available around was Bollywood. And Bollywood music, 99% is something which is originating from a boy towards a girl or from a girl towards a boy. So rarely you can find some songs attributed to parents, where the child is singing for the parents or the parents are singing for the child, but that is also considered 0.0001% anyway. So in this colonization process, which I was victim of, I realized I related all those songs with my existence, with my experiences, with my life. The feeling of void, the feeling of restlessness, the big gap, the realization was there. And in that moment,